Hey there, welcome back to the Introduction to Artificial Intelligence course conducted by BrainyHub. I am Mukhtar Masudi and I am your instructor for the course. In today's video, we are going to start exploring the world of generative AI. We are going to learn about the following topics. What is generative AI? How does generative AI work? What are hallucinations? And finally, the applications of Gen AI. So let's go. First, let's start with what is generative AI. To understand what generative AI is, you first need to have a solid understanding in the following topics: machine learning techniques like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and semi-supervised learning, deep learning, and neural networks. You can follow my previous tutorials to get a solid understanding of these and then come back to this one later. Generative AI is a subset of deep learning. Generative AI is a type of AI which can generate its own new and original content like text, audio, image, video, and synthetic data. There are mostly two types of deep learning or machine learning models. The first one is a discriminative model and the second one is a generative model. Let's first look at what a discriminative model is. A discriminative model is a model which can classify or do predictions. Now, discriminative models are mostly trained on labeled data, but they can also be trained on unlabeled data, which is unsupervised learning, or they can be trained on a mixture of data like labeled or unlabeled, which is semi-supervised learning. After a discriminative model is trained, it can be used to do classification or predictions. A generative model is a type of model which can generate its own content like natural sounding text, audio, video, image similar to the data that it was trained on. It can also predict the next word in a sentence sequence. For example, I am eating peanut butter with an underscore, and then it can guess jam or jelly. To understand this better, as you can see here at the top, we have a discriminative model which is trained on multiple images of apples, and then when it is finished training, it can classify an image as apple or not. In the bottom side, we have a generative model which is trained on the same images of apples, but in this case our generative model can generate a new image of an apple similar to the images that it was trained on. Now let's play a game. Is it Gen AI or not? It is not Gen AI when the answer is a number or a probability, or it is a class like spam or not spam. But it is Gen AI when the answer is natural sounding text, audio, image, or video. Let's look at an exact definition of generative AI. Gen AI is a form of AI that generates fresh content based on the existing content that it was trained on. This learning process is termed as training. It leads to development of a statistical model. Utilizing this model, Gen AI forecasts potential responses to prompts, therefore producing original content. Now there are multiple types of generative models, like a generative image model, which takes an image as an input and can output text, another image, or a video. Under the text output, it can generate visual question answering. Under the image output, it could do an image completion, or under the video output, it could generate an animation. We also have a generative language model, which takes text as an input and can output another piece of text or an image, audio, or video. Generative AI uses transformers. A transformer model consists of an encoder and a decoder. The encoder encodes the input sequence and passes it to the decoder. The decoder learns to understand and use that information needed for a specific job. Now let's move on to what are hallucinations. Hallucinations are words or phrases generated by a model which can be nonsensical, grammatically incorrect, or just false information. For example, if you ask a model who owns Tesla, it might say Jeff Bezos owns Tesla. This is hallucination. In this case, it is giving us wrong information. This could happen due to various factors, like the model not being trained on enough data, the model being trained on noisy or dirty data, or the model just not being given enough context. Let's move on to the final topic of this video, which is the applications of generative AI. Generative AI has a wide range of applications that span over various industries, like content creation, where generative AI can generate original content like articles, stories, or poems. It can also be used for language translation, where generative AI can translate a piece of text from one language to another. Or it can be used for content summarization, where it can summarize a large piece of text or an article and extract key points for you to save time, and more. So to summarize, we learned about what is generative AI, how does generative AI work, what are hallucinations, and finally the applications of Gen AI. In the next video, we are going to be looking at large language models. So for all of that and more, I'll see you there.